So here with the release of Black Ops 6 Zombies' second DLC map, The Tomb, there was this initial immediate backlash from a lot of fans. They just had this feeling that something was missing. It seems like the map has a lot less content than it probably should for a brand new DLC map, but it's pretty hard to kind of put your finger on exactly what it is that's causing that feeling. But after thinking for a little bit, I might have actually figured this out. And so today, I want to discuss grind lock content, the side Easter egg rewards, as well as community expectations, and how they've all kind of come together to make maps like The Tomb here in Black Ops 6 feel a lot worse than it truly is. And so let's hop right into this, starting off with grind lock content. This just makes the maps feel more empty than they otherwise should, as well as make some of the game's core issues unavoidable. So let's take a look at the brand new score streak that should have been the trailer, the War Machine. You'll just have to grind for it with some XP in some event sometime after launch. Yep. Oh guys, we got 3 new guns to play around with, including the PPSH guys. Yep, gotta go grind the battle pass for a few hours to get a chance to play with them. And something like this in particular nearly forces you to use the loadout system. Dude, I want to use this new content that came with the new update, but in order to use any of these new weapons, I have to spawn with them, as they're not on the wall and they're not in the box, and they won't be in the box until at least a month down the line. I personally don't like loadouts. I want to spawn with a pistol, and thankfully that is an option for me. That is, unless I want to actually use any of the new content that was just added to the game, which means I have to spawn in with an OP gun, giving me all the reason to never use the box and never buy a wall gun for the entire rest of my match. Imagine if instead of just having to grind the game to unlock these and spawn with them, you could get them and play with them early by spinning the box at launch and just getting lucky. Or maybe even throw the War Machine in there too, to where maybe you can get it from the box randomly until you get it as a crafting item later in the season. This would be both fun and also make it feel like there's more content in the game. It also actually just improves the game overall by making underutilized mechanics like the box have a use again. And the second thing I mentioned, the side Easter egg rewards. So my issue here is that while useful and cool to do, a lot of these rewards are things that can easily be bought or crafted. And to illustrate my point, I want to compare some similar side quests between Zetsubou no Shima and The Tomb. So let's take a look at Zet. You can open up a pod for a free gun, and you spawn with a pistol, so it's actually pretty valuable early on. You can get a friendly Thrasher. It's the only way to do this, as turning boss zombies is something you normally can't do. You can get a free perk, and this is the only way to get more than 4 perks in the map. You can get an extra life through the revive pod, and this is the only way to get more than 3 revives in the map. You can get a free max ammo, and the only weapons in this game you can get ammo for are wall guns. So if you got literally anything else other than that, it's pretty much worth it every single time, so you just have that in your back pocket in case you ever need it. And lastly, the spider Easter egg. You're able to get an equipment where you can turn into one of the special enemies on this map by following a unique quest. So let's look at some similar Easter eggs on The Tomb. You got some pods for a free gun, of which you can just spawn in with literally any gun in the game, so there's like a 90% chance you're not picking up whatever it gives you. Plus, due to ammo boxes, you literally just don't even need a second weapon, besides like maybe a wonder weapon. You got the turned Easter egg. Yeah, it is cool to have a longer lasting horde of turned zombies, yet the coolness factor of that actual ability itself, normal zombies and elites, can easily be accessed within the first few rounds at the arsenal machine and spawn. You can get a free perk, and while yeah, it's nice, the thing is there is no perk limit. So with just a couple thousand points, you can easily get the same thing. And plus, you can also find free perks from dig sites as well as trial loot. You can do an Easter egg for an extra life. And you can craft 3 of these from the crafting table, but they also drop from boss zombies, and they can also be found in trial loot. You can get a free max ammo. And truly, why would you ever really need a max ammo in this game, as it's pretty much constantly dropped from special zombies and also normal zombies now thanks to 𝘿𝙤𝙤𝙀, and there's ammo boxes pretty much all around the map that are available at all times. I mean, yeah, it's not useless, but damn, it feels like nothing. And then you can also do trials or even open up the pods for a potential free score streak, of which you can get from just spinning the box. You can craft them at literally any time, and due to the special zombie spam, they pretty much drop every 2 seconds. You see what I'm saying? It's like, to make this feel more like content, they need to actually start rewarding the player with unique things that aren't found anywhere else. Like that golden armor, it's a great example. Stuff like that makes the maps feel rich in content. And they're honestly some of the first things you think of when you think of a great map. Mob of the Dead, the Hell's Retriever, the Golden Spork, Origins, the 1-inch punch, G-Strikes, extra perk slots, the Golden Helmet and Shovel, the hidden MG08. It's stuff like that, which we need more of going forward, rather than something I could just craft in the spawn room with 500 salvage. And the last thing is that I could see how a lot of people, including myself, were at first let down by this map. And that's mainly due to a lack of communication and clarification on both Treyarch's end as well as our community. There was a large expectation within the zombies community that this map was going to be some sort of spiritual successor to Origins, like an Origins 2.0. And I think that alone is causing the map to get a lot more flack than it truly deserves. I mean, it's kind of hard not to expect something like that when there's so many homages to Origins within all the teasers and trailers. It was clear because it was a huge part of the marketing. Guys, look, the ice staff is back, guys. The community will naturally expect the best from Treyarch. If we're given hints that this map is going to be taking stuff from one of the best maps ever made, of course people are going to be hyped and excited. The thing is, though is that we kind of created this expectation that it will be Origins 2. And so when people hear that and then they play the map for themselves, they're naturally disappointed. And while yes, the community is in part to blame, this can also all be traced back to how Treyarch and Activision are presenting it to us. They could have easily tempered expectations, just like they could have with Liberty Balls and didn't, but instead they just fully marketed this map as the next Zombies experience, guys. It's the tomb. Look, Origins is back, guys. And then they just have one vague little line in a random blog post that not a lot of players are gonna see, by the way. And that's our only indication of what the map is truly gonna be like. But yeah, even that line itself is pretty much up to interpretation. Because here's the thing, just saying the map is like Liberty Falls is both right and wrong. So even if you like Liberty Falls, there's actually a high chance you're not gonna enjoy this experience. For Liberty Falls, I'd say it's a smaller sized map with an easier gameplay experience. It is a short, simple Easter egg, wide open play spaces, a super easy wonder weapon quest, no crew, but we got an intro cutscene, and it has more like grounded, realistic visuals and atmosphere. But then now let's look at the tomb, which is yes, a smaller map, but this actually has a harder gameplay experience. I'd say it's one of the harder maps in this game. It has a short, simple Easter egg, but it also has the hardest boss fight in this entire game by a good margin. It has some somewhat open spaces, but there's also a lot of really tight corridors. It also has what I think is the most difficult wonder weapon quest in the game, and this map does have a crew, but there's also no intro cutscene whatsoever. And it actually goes more towards the colorful and fantastical direction in terms of the visuals and atmosphere. So in a lot of ways, I feel like this kind of vague description inspired by Liberty Falls feels like all it's gonna do is just cause more hate for this map. Because those who didn't like Liberty Falls are just gonna not be interested in trying out this new map, and those who did like Liberty Falls might hop into it and realize that it's not as similar as they thought, and they might actually end up hating this map because of that. Genuinely just going forward, labeling something like the Tomb and Liberty Falls as bonus survival maps to kind of just help distinguish them within the marketing material, I think would go a long way, as that's pretty much what they are, and to compare them to the larger experiences like Terminus and Citadel, it's just not fair, as there's a clear difference in quality and scale. Pretty much all the negativity surrounding this map could have been avoided if we just had more clarity from Treyarch and Activision on how many maps we're even getting here in Black Ops 6 Zombies. And depending on what you assume, will completely shift your opinion on this map. If we're getting the traditional 4 DLC maps this year, then the Tomb is a huge step back and an awful sign of what we got coming in the future. And it honestly should have been held off giving it more content to make it more deserving of a quote-unquote DLC 2. But if we are getting something like one brand new map every single season, and let's say we're getting 6 seasons of content, and this is basically just like a bonus map in between big releases, then that's awesome. It's literally just more content where we would have otherwise had nothing. And while yeah, it might not be crazy, it's still fun to hop into in the meantime. But we can't just assume one or the other right now, as doing either would be bad. Assuming one, then you're going to be overly negative towards something that's just an extra little bonus, and for the other, you could just be defending an absolute waste of a DLC map slot that could have been so much more. What we need here is clarification from Treyarch on what to expect for the rest of the year, as that alone would honestly do so much for the reception of this game, as well as our community as a whole. So overall, if we could get all of this launch content within the game in some way, without just having to grind for it, have less focus on Easter egg rewards that could easily be acquired on round 5 in the spawn room, and finally get some clarification from Treyarch as to what to even expect from each map, as well as an idea of how many we'll even be getting this year, then I genuinely believe the disappointment, toxicity, and overall general reception of all these DLC maps would be so much better. And so I really hope that some, if not all of these things can be addressed in some way here within the near future, just so we can all enjoy the rest of the new content here in Black Ops 6 Zombies, you know, rather than us just arguing with each other about it every single time. And well, that's about it from me. And so I'm curious, do you agree with what I said or do you disagree? And is there anything I missed? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe or check out the videos on screen now? All right, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.